So none of the options were chosen in the days I left it out. So I'm just gonna take matters into my own hands. And this is gonna be, what if Naruto had the animeverse powers? So what this means is he's gonna have powers of different people from different animes. And so he's gonna be a ghoul, but he doesn't have to eat people. He's also gonna have ki. Let me read the list again. Oh, yeah, so he's gonna have a Kagane, he's gonna become a ghoul pretty much. But he'll have the 4-strand Kagane kind of thing. He's also a Saiyan. He's gonna have the Renegon. He's gonna have the Quirk Black Whip, which is in My Hero Academia. He's gonna have potential greater than Frieza. Like I said, he's gonna have ki. He's also gonna have Karma. He's gonna be he's also gonna have the powers of the Immortal King from an anime called The Daily Life of the Immortal King. And he's pretty overpowered. Let me pull up the list. So, yeah. So he has superhuman physical characteristics, enhanced senses, danger sensing. So he's pretty much, we're not counting immortality, but he's pretty much a built-in Sharingan. But after that, he also has regeneration, and accelerated development. And he also has, his attacks can literally go through different dimensions. He can heal, and that's and summon. But these are his stats when he was those. But now, so this is one of Naruto's outfits where he just covers up almost completely. And then this is his other outfit where he's just freely, and he can make his horns appear or disappear whenever he wants, because they are pretty pesky. It's just So when Naruto is first born, he only has access to 2 of his powers, his Kagune and his ki. And he already has chakra, so yeah. And he still gets the Nine Tails power, so yeah. Time skip 25. So when he's 5, he's running, and it looks like he's running from some villagers. And they're calling him a demon. Because, first, he is a demon, and second, because Kurama. So while they're chasing him, they eventually catch up to him, and one of them throw a kunai that pierces his shoulder, sending Naruto to the ground. And then they would start beating on him and cutting him. And he would start regenerating slowly, and this would make them even angrier, so they start hitting him with even deadlier attacks. And then one of them would hold Naruto by his arm, and Naruto would have had enough, and he would break his own arm by twisting behind the man's back, and then he would knee him in his ribs, making the man let his arm go. And from there, his horns, which were they were at least 4 inches big, he would just run into the man's back, impaling him. Then he would turn around and see the rest of the villagers start chasing him. So he would run and run until he lost them. And when he finally lost them, he would go to sleep in an inn, as he doesn't have a house because literally almost no one likes him. So they didn't even let him get a house. But he would sneak into an inn and lock the door. But so when he woke up the next day, he was surrounded by 5 villagers, and one of them would slam their fist down onto the bed, which Naruto would just barely dodge it, rolling off the bed. And then he would dodge a couple more attacks from the villagers and go over to a table. And he would flip the table over and kick it at the villagers, knocking a couple of them down. The second two would then pull out short blades and they would try to stab Naruto, but Naruto would just grab the chair that was next to him and block the two sword attacks. Then he would slam it down, bringing the swords down with him, and the chair would shatter into pieces. And he would grab the two legs of the chairs and then hit both of them on the side of the head, knocking them out. Then two more villagers tried to get up off the ground. He launched the legs of the chair at them, knocking them out. And the last villager would get up and grab one of the short blades that the others were holding on to, and he would rush at Naruto, stabbing him straight in his, on his side. And Naruto would just grab the blade, force it out, and stab the villager. He would then leave the room before being confronted. My dog was climbing on the chairs in our kitchen, and he climbed onto the counter, and he fell off and fell on his head. And he's pretty small. He's a couple weeks old. That's why he was screaming, if you guys heard that. Well, he wasn't screaming, he was whining, and yeah. But he's okay now. He's just laying down on his bed. But yeah, that kind of scared me. But we're just gonna resume to where we were left off. So Naruto would leave the room and be met with a fireball, which he would just barely dodge. So he would jump onto the ceiling, dodging it, and then jump down at the Chunin that had launched the fireball, kicking him in his stomach, and then kneeing him in his chin, knocking him out, and Naruto would just run away. And when Naruto would make it into the forest, he would decide to live out in the forest. And he would make a ladder that would lead up to the trees. And he would start making a mini treehouse. Which, when he was done, it had one room, for now at least, and that was the room where he slept. And its roof wasn't that good at blocking out the water, but it was good enough for now. And Naruto would go fishing, and he would catch some fish and cut them up with two of his knives that he had. Let me show you what they look like. They look like this, and he has two of them. This is what he uses to fight. He uses these to fight as well. He doesn't really resort to his sword unless he's fighting someone that uses a sword. And while he's sitting in his treehouse thinking about, what he would do. Why is my phone so dark? But he would then see a child that looks around his age, and the black-haired boy would be training with a bunch of kunai, trying to hit targets. So Naruto, thinking that the boy was probably looking for him because some villagers told him to, he would hold his two knives and he would jump down, staring straight at the boy, asking him what he was doing here. The boy would then respond, "Well, I'm just training." And this would, relieve Naruto, as he didn't have to fight a child around his age. So he would then talk to the boy and even ask his name. And the boy would respond with his name was Sasuke. And they would train together. And while they were training, they were pretty evenly matched. Because while Sasuke had better skill than Naruto, Naruto was a bit stronger and a bit faster. And they would train for days. because Sasuke would always sneak out or sneak away from his parents or brother, depending on who he was with, to come train with Naruto. And one day while they're training, this is a year after, because Itachi doesn't kill the Uchihas until Sasuke and Naruto are 7. So Itachi had decided to follow Sasuke because he noticed when Sasuke would leave, but since Sasuke would always come back, he wouldn't really mind it for too much. He wouldn't mind it. But this time he decided to follow him. And he would follow him, and eventually he would see Naruto. And this would kind of concern him, as Naruto was like pretty much, it looked like Naruto was stalking Sasuke. And Naruto would jump down to, like playfully scare Sasuke. And Itachi took this as a threat. And he would dash over to Naruto, kicking him in his stomach, sending him flying into a tree. This would leave Sasuke like terrified. And he would yell to Itachi like, what are you doing? But Itachi would be blinded by trying to protect his brother. And Naruto would draw two of his 2 knives. And Itachi his short blade. Itachi would be not going at full speed, but he'd be rushing around Naruto, slashing at him. But Naruto would be just barely be able to block with his 2 knives. And then Naruto felt a sharp pain in his back. It was Itachi. Itachi had managed to land a slash on him. And then he would kick him in his ribs, sending him over to another tree. But Naruto would stop himself. And he would feel an anger welling up inside of him. And he would feel something burst out of his back. It would be 4 red tentacles. But he didn't care. And he would rush at Itachi. Itachi would weave hand signs and say, "Fire style, majestic destroyer flames." As Naruto would then use his Kagune to block the flames. And then when the flames have dispersed, Naruto would dash at Itachi. And with his Kagune, he would like make it go in front of him and then like pretend like, you know how when people stretch their arms out wide and then they clap, it's kind of like that but backwards and with tentacles and all that. The force of the air pressure that left the clap, I don't know how to explain this, but it would boost Naruto's speed, and Naruto would get a clean hit on Itachi, but it wouldn't do much as Itachi would counter with a kick to the gut. And then Naruto would just start sending his tentacles at Itachi, doing random attacks, which Itachi couldn't predict since they were so random and weren't coordinated. And he would be cut a couple of times. And then when one of the tentacles went after him, he would jump onto it and jump over Naruto. And he would look at his back and see that the slash that was there is gone. And he would be pretty confused. But then Naruto would be behind him, and he would activate his Sharingan. Well, Itachi would, and he would turn around to block the attack. And right now, Itachi now just outclasses Naruto. It's just that Naruto has more stamina, and he has the healing factor. But even with those 2 things, Naruto still couldn't win, and he eventually loses. But Sasuke comes to save him, so Itachi just stops trying to attack him. And Sasuke would explain how Naruto was actually just there to train with Sasuke. And they had been training for a while now. And this would make Itachi feel apologetic, and he would apologize to Naruto. And Naruto would accept his apology as he wasn't hurt too bad because of his healing factor. And since he's a Saiyan, he kind of got a bit stronger from that fight. But he doesn't know it. And excuse me, sorry. But so Itachi would actually take this moment to train Naruto and Sasuke. Because he wants Sasuke to be strong. And he knows he's going to have to train Naruto as well so they can get strong together. So he would train them for about half a year. No, 5 months. I'm going to say 5 months. And both the boys have become way stronger than their canon selves. By this time, at the age of 6 years old, Naruto is already above the Sasuke that took the Veil test. And Sasuke at 6 years old is at the level of his canon self. So Naruto's just a bit stronger because of the beatings that he takes from Itachi, and their fights will make him stronger. But since his healing factor is so good, he doesn't get that big of a Zenkai because he heals before he gets beat up too badly. Unless he's fighting like Itachi at full power, then he would probably get a large Zenkai. And Sasuke just relies on getting stronger by training. But this helps them out a lot. And over time, Naruto actually unlocks, well, now he knows how to use chakra and his ki. And sometimes he can like hold himself in the air for like at least 10 seconds. And Sasuke tries to like be able to fly or levitate, but he's not able to do it yet. And while Naruto was training by himself, he would then realize he unlocked a new power. And large black and white, like whip-like energy would be shot out of his hands. He would unlock the black whip power, and it would be black and red. And he would go off to show Itachi his new move, but he would ask him to spar. So Itachi would activate his one Tomoe Sharingan, and Naruto would act like use his Kagane, and they would start fighting, jumping from tree to tree, slashing at each other. And then Naruto would turn around, hold out his palm, and still not being able to completely control his black whip, it was larger than some of the trees, and it went pretty far, and it would overwhelm Itachi in the middle. But Itachi had substituted just in time, and he would be above the trees, looking down on the massive destruction that one move Naruto did had caused. It had at least destroyed like 30 trees. And it left a huge open space. But Itachi would wave hand signs and say, "Fire style, Inferno Dragon." And the dragon made of fire would start wrapping around him, and then it would dash downward towards Naruto. And Naruto, using his danger sensing, he would look up and jump backwards, doing a flip and dodging the fire dragon. And then he would jump up towards Itachi, and they would be in an airborne fight where Naruto would throw a kick. Kick at Itachi's head, but Itachi would maneuver his body to dodge the attack, and then he would use both his feet to kick into Naruto's chest, but Naruto would block it. And then, while he looked down to see a tree branch, Naruto grabbed onto the tree branch, swung on it, and kicked Itachi in the stomach, and they both were sent flying down to the ground, plummeting. And Itachi would take this moment to restrain Naruto and use Naruto's body to fall onto the ground, knocking Naruto out. And Naruto took significant damage from this fight, and he was then given a large Zenkai. And he would then train with Sasuke for the rest of the day. And this is the day when Itachi stopped coming around, as he had a lot of missions to do, and they were getting harder every day. So they would have to resort to training by themselves. And now we're going to skip to when they were both 12. So now everything that happened with Uchiha and stuff, it happened. And Sasuke isn't emo, he's just aggressive to everyone, like, except Naruto, because, he and Naruto are friends. They go back to when they were just 5 years old. So, they have both grown pretty strong over the couple of years. And Naruto has unlocked every single one of his powers besides the Rinnegan and his karma, which he already has the karma. It only becomes visible when he activates it, though, and it's behind his hair on his forehead. And the karma he has, it's Momoshiki's. He just doesn't get a horn since he already has a horn. His eye would just turn pure white, and he would get the blue lines. And this would increase his flight, his strength, his speed, and he would be able to absorb chakra. But yeah, he doesn't have that or the Rinnegan yet. And they would be called up to have a little spar. And by this time, Sasuke had picked up the bases of ki that Naruto had taught him. And these two are very strong. Still not strong as Kakashi, but they'll get there. And if they work together, they can overpower Kakashi. And they start to fight, and everyone would just be like confused at where they had gone, as both the boys are moving so fast that no one in the room can like keep up. All they can feel is the shockwave. And then Iruka would yell, "Stop!" and the boys would stop in their stances. Iruka said, we have to take this outside first, right?" And Naruto would scratch the back of his head, as he had forgot that they were inside of a room. And everyone would go outside. And Naruto keeps to himself, so everyone still like Sasuke more than him. And they think of him as a loser. So everyone's out there chanting Sasuke's name, saying that he's definitely gonna beat Naruto. So Sasuke would then dash at Naruto with a chakra / ki powered punch and would punch at Naruto. But Naruto would use his Kagune to block it. And then he would instantly retract his Kagune and deliver a gut punch that would send Sasuke flying into the air. He would then appear behind Sasuke and throw so many punches in the matter of a couple of seconds. And then his last punch would send Sasuke flying into the ground. Sasuke would do a flip and catch himself, and he would say, "Fire style, demonic flames," as a crimson flare would appear, and then it would enlarge as it would be launched at Naruto. Naruto would then hold out his hand and say, "Water style, water cannon," as a cannon would appear around his arm. Well, not the actual cannon, the cannon barrel part that's on top of the wheels. It would be made of water and on his arm, and he would charge it up and shoot it at the fireball, extinguishing the flame. Then he would say, "Water style, dragon slice," as he would grab his two knives, and Sasuke would grab out his sword, and he would rush at Sasuke. And Sasuke would say, "Lightning style, lightning whip," and his sword would be enhanced with lightning, but at the tip it would become like a whip. And he would rush at Naruto. Naruto would slash upward while Sasuke slashed downwards. And both of their attacks had basically backfired on themselves, as Naruto's water had splashed onto both Sasuke and himself, and Sasuke's lightning had, hit both Naruto and himself. So they both got electrocuted. And they were sent back from pure, the pain. Because after the pain had stopped, they, jumped back in pain. But Naruto started healing. and Sasuke knows he's gonna have to end the fight. So he would then power up of Ki Blast, and then he would cup his hands as if he was doing the Kamehameha wave and say, Destruction Beam, as he would launch it at Naruto. And Naruto would have something swirling around his finger as if it was a ring. And then he would launch it at the beam, and it would open up, make the beam go through it, and once the beam went through it, it would close. And this would stop the Ki Blast, the Destruction Beam, making it useless. It just stopped right in front of Naruto's face too and dispersed. Then Naruto would say, well, I guess I can end this now, as he would dash at Sasuke with speeds that he couldn't even see, and then hit him with the hilt of his sword in the gut. And then Sasuke would activate his Sharingan, but it had been too late, as he was then kneed in the chin, getting knocked out cold. Everyone would be dumbfounded at how Naruto had just easily vanquished Sasuke. But nonetheless, everyone would get put on their same teams. Sorry for that noise. Everyone got put on their same teams. And yeah. But while Sasuke is getting talked to by Kakashi with the rest of his team, he would spot someone in a black cloak with red clouds on it. And the face reminded him of his brother. So then he would rush off the building, and he would see his brother. He would stand face to face with his brother. And then he would try to fight Itachi, but it would go pretty much the same as it did in canon the first time they fought. But it would be more in Itachi's favor, because this Sasuke isn't as strong as that version of him, but he's still strong. He's stronger than canon version of himself in this time period, but he's not as strong as that version of Sasuke. Yeah, that makes sense. So, right when Itachi is about to knock Sasuke out so he can just walk away, Naruto would then catch a punch from Itachi, knee him in his stomach, and then kick him back. And this would cause Itachi to activate his Tutomoe, and Naruto would start healing Sasuke. And then they would stare him down. And Naruto's ki would start flaring up as a large red aura would appear around him. And Sasuke would have a large purple aura. And this would kind of scare Itachi, as he thought it was chakra. And chakra isn't supposed to be visible. And Naruto would then put a blindfold on and pass one to Sasuke, and Sasuke would do the same. And since they both have ki, they can also sense ki in others, and everyone has ki. It's only that they can manipulate it. So Itachi would say, "What are you guys doing? You can't fight me if you can't see." And then Naruto would say, "Well, we can't fight you if we can see. Because I know you can put us in a genjutsu. I know how the Sharingan works, and I know you're good with genjutsu. And we have a trick up our sleeves." And then they would both disappear and appear in front of Itachi. Itachi would then slam his fists down, thinking he would hit both of them on their heads, knocking them out. But then they both dodged out of the way. And Naruto would pull out one of his knives, and he would slash at Itachi. But it would only cut the cloak and just barely miss Itachi. Then Sasuke would say, "Lightning style, lightning whip." And Naruto would say, "Water style, full cannon." As Sasuke would then draw his whip back when Itachi was hit by Naruto's water cannon. then Sasuke would swing his whip at Itachi, electrocuting him. But it turns out it was just a clone. As then the real Itachi would appear from behind Sasuke and chop his neck. And this would make Naruto angry, as he can't feel Sasuke's ki as much as he did before. And then Naruto would feel immense anger. And I'm outside right now, so you might hear random noises from time to time because they're building construction houses. So then Naruto's eyes would become a dark red, and he got angry, and his eyes like became slit like a fox's pretty much, and he's in the QB influence. And the only reason why he got pushed to this moment is because he can't feel Sasuke's chakra as potent as he did before. So he's like thinking that something must have happened to Sasuke. Either he got like taken by Itachi or he got killed. And Naruto would then sense Itachi that's right next to him. So he would turn around and punch Itachi, sending him flying meters away. And Itachi would be concerned, as Naruto's punches had been strong, but never this strong. And then Naruto would appear in front of him with the blink of an eye. And he would uppercut Itachi, sending him into the sky. And Naruto would fly after him. And then he would be pretty much like just flying, punching, pretty much bullying Itachi. And he would be just flying around pretty fast too. He's flying pretty fast. Like, this man's zipping around the sky, beating on Itachi. Then he would grab him by his face, slam him into the ground, and launch him at a wall, as his ki would start flaring up again. And it would send a beam directly into the sky. And everyone is concerned, and they don't know what's happening, as Naruto's using his QB chakra, but the ki is overpowering it, so people can't tell what it is because they can't feel it. They can only feel like a faint sense of QB chakra, but they're like this, as much as we're sensing, this shouldn't be the outcome of that. So like they've got Jonin rushing over there, Ambu, literally strong ninja. Even the new generation were able to come because they just used them for extra help just in case. And so when everyone arrived, they would see Naruto zipping around the sky, just beating on Itachi, and then he would slam Itachi into the ground. But it was a substitution, as Naruto was then hit with a fireball that would send him out of the sky. And Itachi would say, "I let this go on long enough," as he would then appear in front of Naruto. Then he would like grab his arm, turn him around, and point his head to the ground and chop his neck, which would make Naruto fall. I'm outside with my dog. He's right here. How you doing? But anyway, and then Itachi would be surrounded by Ambu and Jonin, and then he would just disappear, leaving only a bunch of crows behind. And then the crows would like start pecking at the Ambu, distracting them from Itachi actually getting away, because he was only able to like go behind them without them noticing. And now that the crows are distracting for him, he's pretty much just walking away now. So now we're gonna skip to the bell test, which this is how it would go. So Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would be staring into Kakashi's eyes, and Naruto's pretty angry because he let Itachi get away, and he wasn't strong enough to beat him. And so was Sasuke. Excuse me. But, so he would get up from sitting down, and he would then hear Kakashi say, "Go." And Sakura would jump into the trees, but both Naruto and Sasuke would dash at Kakashi, throwing 2 punches that would send him flying. But Kakashi would stop himself and instantly lift up his headband because he knows about the fight with Itachi, so he knows these two are strong. And he activates his 3 Tomoe Sharingan, which makes Sasuke pretty angry that this man has a Sharingan and he's not even an Uchiha. So Sasuke would activate his Sharingan, and he would start fighting Kakashi. And he's doing as well as Canon Sasuke did against a base Kakashi. So that's kind of how this is. So that's how the fight looks. That's not how their powers is. That's just how the fight looks. And basically Sasuke can't land a hit on Kakashi, but Kakashi is struggling to block his attacks. And then Naruto would zip in with his Kagune and slap Kakashi away. And Kakashi would then hit a tree. And he would look up to see Sakura jumping down with her foot, like, facing, like, basically she's trying to stomp on his head. But he would move out of the way, grab her by the leg, and launch her at the 2 boys. Naruto would catch her while Sasuke would continue to go fight Kakashi. And this would give Kakashi an impression like, so he's like, alright, so Naruto actually, cares about his comrades, for the most part at least. Because he actually saved Sakura from hitting the ground or even hitting something else, even though, like, it wasn't gonna kill her, but he still took the time to, catch her, while Sasuke was just like, forget it. So, he's like, it's collecting information. And then Sasuke would start fighting Kakashi once again, but it would be going the same. It was futile. But then Sasuke would jump back, doing a flip, and holding out his palm towards Kakashi, and he would launch a ray of ki blast. And this would make Kakashi wave hand signs and say water style, water dragon jutsu. As the dragon, that's him running on rocks. As the dragon would collide, ow, bro, you bit me, bro, really? Sorry. But the dragon would collide with the rocks, with the ki blast, and they would all disperse. And Naruto would appear behind Kakashi and use his Kagune to pretty much slice at Kakashi. And Kakashi would be dodging and blocking some of the attacks with his kunai. And then Naruto, out of pure anger, would activate his Rinnegan for a brief moment and use the almighty push subconsciously. And it would send Kakashi flying into trees. Then, from the trees, he would kind of get tired of this, and he would use the White Whale G2, and it would emerge from the water, or the little river, but it would freeze the entire river. And the large whale was going to clash with Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. But Naruto started flying at the whale, and he would power up ki in his fist and punch straight through the whale, dispersing it and sending shards of hail downward. And this would give Sasuke the perfect idea, as he would say, fire style, flamethrower, as he would start melting the hail, turning it into water. And then he would tell Sakura and Naruto to take cover under some trees, away from the water, which they would. And he would say, lightning style. He would say, lightning style, lightning whip. Stop trying to bite me, bro. My God. But, he would then use his lightning whip in the rain to electrocute Kakashi. And Kakashi would be electrocuted for a while, but then he would substitute out of there. And then he wouldn't notice, but Naruto had literally used his ki to conceal his whole presence. And since the ki was that strong and Kakashi can't sense it, it was also masking over his chakra. So Kakashi didn't even know that Naruto was there. Naruto would take the bells and just walk away slowly and walk in front of Kakashi. Kakashi would like see Naruto and then jump back, thinking Naruto was still looking for the bells. And then Naruto would hold up the bells as he was walking away from Kakashi. And Kakashi would be kind of confused as, like he didn't feel or see him come up behind him and take the bells, or even in front of him for that matter. And then he would just congratulate them on their victory, I guess. Then they would start with their missions, but Naruto would skip out on most of these missions to train. And a certain someone would see how strong Naruto is. And this certain someone would be Danzo. And he would be relaying all his feats that he had accomplished to Orochimaru. And Orochimaru had big plans for Naruto. And eventually he would put them into action as Naruto would be called in by Hiruzen, and Hiruzen would tell him how Danzo, one of the elders of the village hidden in the leaves, had wanted to see him to talk to him about joining the Yambu. And Hiruzen is still oblivious to the fact that Danzo is a little corrupt. He has noticed some of his corrupt ways, but he doesn't think he's just corrupt. He thinks he just has a weird way of dealing with things. Oh, freak. Am I even still recording? Oh yeah, I'm still recording. Sorry, my screen is really dark and I couldn't see. But so Danzo would then take him to the foundation, where he has him train against some Ambu for the time being, to get him tired. And once he's tired, Orochimaru would come in and bite him on his neck, and a curse mark would appear on his neck, similar to Sasuke's in the original timeline. But it would then turn red, as it was influenced by Naruto's blood. And that's where I'm going to end this off. Hope you liked it. If you didn't, that's too bad. No, I'm just messing around. But I'm out.